listening to Planery, the podcast, your guide to home building, renovation and design. I'm your host, Emma, an architect and business owner with over 15 years industry experience, bringing you new episodes each week to answer all of your questions and provide clarity so you feel confident to design your dream home. Let's get into it. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to episode 2. Today, we're going to be talking about navigating the Australian home renovation landscape. And if this is your first time tuning in, welcome to the podcast. Don't forget to check out our very first episode where I shared what Planery is all about, so you know what's kind of going to be coming up this year on the podcast. The renovation game has evolved dramatically, and in this episode, I'll be walking you through the key trends, challenges, and opportunities that are shaping the way that Australians are renovating their homes. Let's make sure you have everything in your little kit that you need to know to tackle your next project with confidence. Now, to kick things off, I think it's important that we have a little look at the current state of the housing market in Australia and what some of those renovation trends are doing. So, as of 2025, we're seeing a surge in homeowners opting to renovate rather than buy new homes. And there is a number of reasons for this. It is also different state by state, area by area, and also just to do with politics, economics. There are so many background pieces, but why is it that some people are choosing to renovate and not just buy a new home? Well, for starters, Australia's property market remains highly competitive, and for many families that want to upgrade their existing home, it's much more affordable to do so than to go out and purchase an entirely new one or to do a volume builder kind of thing, because we have seen a lot of instability in that industry with the closure of a lot of volume building companies. And I think that resulted in a lot of people losing confidence in an industry that was otherwise relatively stable. Like, you would go out and purchase a little block of land in a new estate. You would build with one of the builders out there. They were big brand names. And I think that gave people a lot of confidence. Whereas now, as we can see with, Porter Davis and some of these other brands, there was allegedly a lot of shaky ground going on underneath what all of that and everything that was going on with those companies. So I do think that is why people are now looking at what is the more stable option and how can I actually customize the place that I'm living in further as well, because we all know that location is one of the number one reasons why people want to purchase an area. It might be in a favorable school zone, or it might just be a spot that you've grown up in or that you really, really love. It's close to friends and family, and you just want to find any property that will do and that has some decent, not too many like stringent overlays and things on top of it, but something that is possible to renovate. So here's the catch. Renovation costs have also been steadily rising, and that is mostly due to labour shortages, increased material costs, and a lot of supply chain disruptions. So that being said, it's not all bad news. The government incentives for energy-efficient upgrades in the residential market and a lot of eco-friendly materials are definitely now making it easier for homeowners to invest in some sustainable renovations. If you're considering a renovation this year, you're not alone. According to recent reports, over 60% of Australian homeowners are planning to upgrade their homes in some capacity in 2025. So that could be anything from something small like a bathroom or kitchen renovation. It might be an extension, or as we sometimes say, a little bit of a box on the back kind of approach, or it might be just gutting the interiors and starting over. Additionally, it's also worth noting that there is a renewed focus on making homes more resilient to Australia's unique climate, and a lot of that has to do with passive house principles. And even if you don't want to do a fully certified passive house, which is an entirely other journey on its own that I could go into, there is really a push, I think, for people now that the star rating has been upgraded. So previously you had to have a 6-star for a residential house, and now it is 7 stars. And that implies already that some changes need to be made in that marketplace, because it is physically not able to get a house as certified 7 stars if you aren't including some sustainable elements. That might be thermally broken frames for your windows. It might be actually having a solar system or battery backup. There are a lot of things that need to be paid attention to, and proper solar orientation is probably one of the foundational steps. And as an architect, we most definitely understand this, and we design your unique home to suit the site that it is on. And I think that that's somewhere where a lot of those volume builder developments went really wrong. They were just kind of carving up sites and plonking houses on them, and there was no attention to orientating things correctly, shading windows correctly, kind of actually making the most of the northern aspects so that you're getting natural light and proper ventilation. So I think that we're about to see a lot of changes with that as well. Something we also face in Australia is a lot of extreme weather events. So that might be bushfires, floods, heat. And I think a lot of homeowners in some of those areas that have BEL overlays are also prioritising features like fire-resistant cladding, proper drainage systems, and a lot of passive cooling strategies to tackle all of these various climatic things as well. These aren't just practical choices, but they're also essential for long-term comfort and safety in your home. Another factor shaping the residential market is the growing popularity of renovating heritage properties. So these properties come with their own set of challenges, and from an architect's perspective, I will say that it's really important if you're purchasing a property like this or that you live in a property like this, you understand what you're getting into if you're intending to do a major renovation, because a lot of these items will actually need to go through town planning, and that can kind of cause you some significant delays in terms of actualizing your project. So it's really important that you actually do work with a professional in these instances. And if you have a project like this, you are more than welcome to reach out to me, and the email is actually in the show notes, so I'd be more than happy to talk you through it and see if we'd be a good fit for your project or even just point you in the right direction. Now, although these projects come with their own set of challenges like complying with the council regulations and maintaining the historical integrity of the building, they also offer some incredible opportunities. For one, a lot of the spaces used to be much larger. You'll probably notice the sheer size of like the bedrooms and the living areas was absolutely enormous. But one of the downsides of a lot of these heritage houses is they're very closed in. They have a lot of walls. They're all in the wrong spot. They don't make any sense. They don't have open plan kitchen, dining, living. But it does offer a massive opportunity to blend a lot of those beautiful, classic, charming features with some modern functionality. So I actually think it's a very fascinating niche that's worth exploring if you're up for the challenge. So let's talk through, I guess we could say trends, although I'm not a massive fan of the word trend, but I would say just an upward swing in interest in this particular area, and that is sustainability. So from solar panels to recycled materials, sustainable renovations are definitely becoming more popular than ever. I get a lot of requests for people wanting to upspec their homes, and at Planery, my design business, we're actually doing an 8-star residence at the moment, as well as one passive house. So I can definitely see that people are prioritizing energy efficiency and eco-friendly upgrades more than they have in the past. This includes things like double glazed windows, water-saving fixtures, passive design principles, and a lot of this, I would say, is now not so much of an optional extra, but it's really just becoming standard or those kind of more common expectations. So if you're renovating, I would definitely consider how you can either upspec your current property or incorporate some new green features into your plans. It's not only good for the planet, but it's also great for your wallet in the long run too, because you will be saving money with materials that have longevity. There might be kickbacks from solar or batteries and a lot of other benefits as well. Here's a little bonus tip for you. You can also look into government rebates for energy efficient upgrades. There are a ton of programs that can offset some of your costs, and they may even make it more easier to go green. So whether you're installing some solar panels, a new air conditioning system, or upgrading to some energy efficient appliances, there are plenty of opportunities to save while you're building sustainably. And actually, if you're just doing something small, you could even speak to your local tradesperson, because they might be able to point you in the right direction. Another really important aspect of renovating that I see becoming another really popular inclusion is multifunctional spaces. So our homes have definitely had to work harder for us in the post-pandemic world. And if you are still someone who is working from home, you would know that you've probably had to create or dedicate a space to be your home office. And you may even have things like a guest bedroom that used to have a bed in it and it has now become your office. So that could be doubling as an office/workout space, or there might be some more outdoor areas that you're wanting to just transition transition them seamlessly from dining to entertaining, because now that we're having more people over and with the cost of living, I think a lot of people are wanting to entertain at home rather than going out. There is a real priority about including flexibility in your renovation to ensure that your home can adapt to your needs over time. One trend I'm particularly excited about is the rise of convertible furniture and modular design. So imagine a dining table that transforms into a desk, or a bed that creates extra space during the day by being able to fold away. There's so many different solutions that are perfect for smaller spaces like apartment renovations or smaller homes. And this is really popular in urban areas, which are a little bit more built up, where every single square meter counts. One of my favorite things to talk about is natural materials and that kind of intersection with biophilic design. So this means a lot of really beautiful organic materials that kind of invite the outdoors in. So if you're thinking about high quality timber finishes, real stone countertops, and earthy tones, I would say a lot of those things are making a comeback, and it's because they create really beautiful, calming spaces. So if you're kind of wanting a good example of this, I would say you could jump on over to Pinterest and look up probably like mid-century modern. I would say that that is like the pinnacle of the cozy sort of home aesthetic. And I definitely think there is a focus on bringing that outdoors in. So going back to things like large windows, indoor plants, skylights, some natural textures, a lot of these items are really beginning to take center stage in people's homes. And don't underestimate the power of greenery. I always say that adding a little courtyard or adding some plants to your interiors not only can improve the indoor air quality, but it also creates a calming and restorative atmosphere, which is exactly what we want from our home. When you're arriving home from work at the end of the day, or even just spending a lot of time there, you want that to be your little haven where you can just relax. So I just think it's a very simple, cost-effective and very easy way to make your home feel more connected to nature. The last kind of trend I would touch on is just high levels of technological integration. So that is things from like smart lighting to automated climate control. And with the rise of AI, I would say that technology is definitely a must-have in modern Australian homes. So investing in a smart home system during your renovation could really increase your home's value. And it is something that can give you that wow factor while also making everyday living more convenient. So if you're someone who's looking to future-proof your home, I would definitely consider integrating some smart security systems like a PIN door lock. There is other things like energy management tools, voice-controlled devices. All of these upgrades might feel a little bit high-tech now, but I promise you they are quickly becoming the norm. So now that we've done a little deep dive into a couple of trends, I thought that we could talk through some of the challenges that you might face during a renovation and how you can kind of tackle them so that they don't become a problem for you later on when you are way too far down the line. So number one is budgeting. This is one of the number one challenges, and with rising costs, sticking to a budget can feel impossible. So one of my biggest tips to my clients and just friends and people I meet in general is to build in a contingency fund and make that a buffer of at least 10 to 15% of your overall budget, and that will allow for any of those unexpected expenses. Definitely do not forget to prioritize this and decide early on where you want to splurge and where you want to save. For example, it might be worth investing in some really high quality kitchen appliances or some really durable flooring, but you could save by choosing some mid-range fixtures. I really like ABI and Yabby for tapware. I think they're really fairly priced. They still look incredibly beautiful, and it means that you're saving money by not just spend in every single room of the house. You could also repurpose some existing materials if you're renovating. So I am working with clients on a property where they're cleaning some bricks, and there is obviously a little bit of a cost to do this if you're not doing it yourself, but it means that we are able to have a sustainable approach, but also to save some of that existing material as well. So definitely be as strategic as you can with your spending, and that will make a big difference. The next challenge is about finding the right tradespeople for your project. So labour shortages definitely mean that the best tradespeople are booked well in advance, so they're not always going to be available at the drop of a hat. That means that you need to be really organised and start reaching out as soon as you have a clear vision for your project, and always check references and credentials to ensure quality work. One way to streamline this process is by asking for recommendations from your friends or family who have recently completed renovations. Personal referrals are often the best way to find reliable professionals, but if you were to be completing a project with me as your architect for your renovation, I would organize all of that on your behalf by connecting you with some reputable trades or a reputable builder from my network that have proven track records. The third challenge that I want to touch on is managing project delays, and this can happen from so many different fronts. So you really have to just be prepared for anything and everything to go wrong, as many things might actually go right as well. So any delays could be from supply chain disruptions. This would be if you, let's say, ordered a particular type of flooring and it just happens to be out of stock when your project is underway. There can be unpredictable weather where delays can happen with that as well. So to minimize stress, I would recommend maintaining open communication with your builder and your tradespeople and just your overall team, and also having a little bit of understanding where you can be flexible with your timelines where possible. It's also helpful to have a backup plan in place for if things do run over schedule. For instance, if a specific material is delayed, consider some alternative options that can keep the project moving forwards without compromising your vision. Or also just have a think about if you are renting a property, don't have the lease running out exactly when the builders said they're going to be finished. Definitely allow a little bit of a buffer in time for you to do move in or have any delays on the other end as well. So as we wrap up this episode, there's a couple of key takeaways that I wanted to leave you with, which will help you navigate your home renovation. And that is to stay informed about trends, especially sustainability and some of the multifunctional design that we've touched on. Be proactive in managing challenges like budget and scheduling. And this one's really important because you don't just want to drop your project off. You're not, we live in our bodies when we take care of our health, right? So you don't just drop your body off at the doctor and ask them to look after it for you. You maintain an active involvement and make decisions every single day that are going to help towards your goal. And your home renovation is no different. As much as you can drop it off to the builder or drop it off to the designer, it's ultimately up to you to take some responsibility for what you are creating as well, so that you know that you're going to love the end result. And finally, I would say, don't be afraid to seek professional advice. It's not always as expensive as you think it is. I know there are blogs and things where people say a lot of things online, but if you are working with someone who is experienced, like an architect, a builder, or a building designer, it can save you a lot of time and money in the long run. Remember, a successful renovation starts with a solid plan, and that's what Planery is here to help you with. So you can head on over to our website. We have a lot of information about home renovations. We have home renovation workshops, we have online courses, we have in-person events that are coming up for the year, and you can also just book in some little brief consultations by the hour with our team. So we are definitely here to help. So remember to take your time during that planning stage. You don't want to rush any decisions because that can often lead to some very costly mistakes. The more thought you put into your design and budget up front, the smoother the entire process will be. So thank you again so much for joining me on today's episode of Planery. I hope you found these insights really helpful and feel inspired to take on your next renovation with confidence. Don't forget to subscribe to this podcast or follow us on your favorite platform so that you never miss an episode. And if you enjoyed today's episode, please share it with someone who's planning a renovation so that it can help them as well, or leave us a comment in the show notes about what you enjoyed about this episode. So next time we will be jumping into another topic, and that will be about mistakes to avoid in your home renovations. So until then, take care, happy planning. Don't forget to follow us over on Instagram as well to keep up with all the latest updates, and I will see you in the next episode.